Welcome to Advertising Champions, your go-to destination for insights into the dynamic world of advertising. I'm Tony Stanol, and with us today is Nathan Holstedt of NH Films. Welcome, Nathan.
Hey, Tony, thanks for having me on today.
Now, you've got a lot of credentials in terms of you're a director, a cinematographer, editor, drone pilot. We chatted briefly about some of the technology that enabled more and more people in the past few years to produce content. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, technology has really enabled a lot of people, just about anybody, to create content, have the ability to grab a camera, a high quality camera at that, and start creating, telling story, creating brand content, demonstrating their ability. And I think technology has been one of the greatest enablers for people to express their creative capabilities and to also help brands, organizations, and companies worldwide tell their story, create valuable brand content and assets to help them do what they do better, and grow their brand. So technology has come from film cameras that we used to shoot on and the processing of those film cameras that took days and weeks and were expensive to now you can review your footage within seconds, and you can continue to film and keep going. So it's been huge advancements that have allowed us to tell a story differently and more effectively, and then including drone. We used to have to use helicopters, and those were expensive. And now, with a couple $1,000s, you have a very high quality camera that can do some really cinematic things that used to cost a lot of money.
Right. And give us some examples of work that you're particularly proud of. You don't need to name names if you don't want to, but feel free to brag.
I think as you move further in your career, the definition of what are you most proud of kind of evolves and changes. I work in just about every industry, from beer, wine, and liquor to hospitality to travel tourism. A lot of nonprofit work in different sectors of nonprofit, down to action sports and television. I think the projects that are most important are really the ones that fill my cup creatively, as well as the impact those pieces are going to have. I think nowadays the work I'm most proud of are some of the nonprofit work we're doing that I feel are going to have a larger impact than, say, just a 30-second high concept commercial for one of the large companies around the world. Those are creatively amazing and I love those. But there's a film project that I'm working on that revolves around universal design and accessibility within the IDD, individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And I think that educational film is really going to really peel back the layers and help people understand those concepts in life and have a bigger impact and footprint moving forward on creating change and making valuable, meaningful impact in the world. So I love doing short commercials, trailers, and shooting TV. But I think the nonprofit work that I do nowadays is really what's filling my cup.
I got you. Now, anyone with an iPhone can, produce content these days. How do you differentiate the really skilled ones from everyday Joe like myself who might, take some video at the beach?
Yeah, that's a good question. An iPhone is just another tool in the process that, depending on what style of content or what the intent for the content is it for social media, a reel, those can be a perfect tool for that job. How to differentiate? I think the visual look of something is one way. You see depth of field, you have things that are out of focus with smooth camera movements. The coloring of those versus high contrasted images versus something that has a more cinematic feel, more dynamic range, more softness to it. That's a visual difference. I then think things like sound design and bringing a scene to life on a layered level with different types of sound effects that create this environment is one big layer in the cake that really differentiates that iPhone versus a cinematic look and feel. Camera movements, narrative, all those things. There's a lot that goes into when you look something side by side and you say, wow, that's an iPhone, and then that's a skilled DP or a team and an editor that
Yeah.
have really deep storytelling capabilities.
Right, right. Well, that's it's very nuanced, I can tell. But where can people find your product, Nathan?
The content I create is, you can see it in the form of television commercials on broadcast TV. A lot of the majority of the work we're doing now is on social media. So I think probably a good 60 to 70% is going to be on social media because that platform's so vast and so affordable. But really, that's where the audiences are. So social media is big. In-house display. There are private events and showings, whether it's in the academia world, politics, legislature. So I think social media is going to be the biggest place you're going to see a lot of my work and other work. But you'll see some of it on TV as well.
Very good. Well, thanks for sharing that with us today and being with us, Nathan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate the interest you take in individuals and people and what they do. That's important.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Advertising Champions. You could find out more about Nathan's work at dailynewsnetwork.com after this recording drops, and we will see you next time.
We've been around for 16 years, working with clients, with thousands of clients. We're working with agencies to be able to scale them and grow them and provide them services that would cost them way more than it would for them to do it themselves. Anything oriented around lead generation, video creation, web design, we're full service, so we can really serve most people.